Metal Gear Solid 4 was the first game I played and completed on the PS3. It is definitely an epic game with a great story that concludes the series. The gameplay I would give a 9 out of 10. Great stealth action throughout the game takes place. Similar gameplay to the first Metal Gear Solid, 3 Metal Gear Solid games, with some unique modifications such as the octo camo and purchasing weapons. The gameplay was excellent, especially there's lots of action throughout the first two chapters of the game. I still thought the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater had better gameplay because there was less emphasis on the plot, but now I will get into the plot of Metal Gear Solid 4, which I would give a 7 out of 10. The story is interesting because it concludes the series from where it left off from Metal Gear Solid 2. With Metal Gear Solid 2, when I finished playing that game back in the day, I was dumbfounded by the convoluted story. The story is also pretty crazy in Metal Gear Solid 4, but it all makes sense when it's explained in Chapter 3. However, the main problem I had with the story in this game, like Metal Gear Solid 2, is that there's so much plot and story. Cutscenes, and it's emphasized over the actual gameplay. It actually takes away from the gameplay. Half of the entire game, nearly 10 hours of it, is plot, is story. I wanted to play more, but the extent of the plot really takes away from the gameplay, which is a bad thing. It feels more like you're watching a movie rather than playing an actual game at times. The graphics I would give a 9.5 out of 10. There's excellent graphics in this game, especially for an older PS3 game. The only graphic I did not like was the way Otacon looks. He looked kind of dull and kind of goofy. Otacon looked much cooler in Metal Gear Solid 2, which is a game from 2001, which is pretty old now. Otacon seemed more geeky and wimpier in Metal Gear Solid 4 than he did in the others. But the other character designs were very decent. And all the other stuff, the backgrounds, the realistic feeling of the game was good. The stages. Music I'd give a 10 out of 10 because the soundtrack by Harry Gregson Williams does not fail. Metal Gear Solid 4, like every other Metal Gear Solid game, does not fail with its musical score. Overall, I give this game a B+. Great game overall, but the extent of storytelling takes away from the actual gameplay, which gets really annoying. Also, the last boss fight was way too easy, and I don't know. I thought they could have done a better job with that, especially like how good they did with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.